still make a shit ton of ISK if you just go to level 4 on Command Center Upgrades and Interplanetary Consolidation. If you want to maximize your profit, you can go all the way to 5. That gives you another planet and a lot more power grid. If you don't go to 5, you will not be able to go all the way up to P4 commodities. So the stuff that they use for capital ships. However, that doesn't mean you won't make a ton of ISK. Some of the best ISK is actually in P1 commodities like oxygen, water, and bacteria. The other link is Eve Helper, and it's a flowchart. It can help you plan out your PI. So if you look at my screen right now, I'll quickly use it. When you first visit it, it will look like this. I remove all the planets that I don't have in the system. So if we take away the planets that we don't have in our hole, that would be the storm, plasma, and ocean. We can see that we actually have a system that allows us to get anything in the game, which is pretty awesome. So for instance, the first thing you want to do is you want to make a plan and decide what you want to make. Decide what types of planets you're going to need for extraction. Ensure that you've got access to them, which you will. If you just want to make ISK, then the first step should be checking market price history to find items with a history of sustained high value. To give you guys a little tip, if you don't want to do that work, water, protein, oxygen, and bacteria. Those are safe bets to always make you a lot of ISK. So if you don't like the idea of setting up a whole bunch of factories and getting yourself all the way to the advanced commodities, just getting extraction planets that are going to give you these 4 will bring one account with 3 characters up to nearly 3 billion a month. So once you've got your plan and what you want to do, whether you want to make advanced commodities for a purpose, like building ships, or whether you just want to make ISK, the next thing you want to do is plan your extraction planets. Now, you can use a single planet to extract and take the materials all the way up to a P2 or a P3 product, but it's a terrible idea. It's very inefficient, and you're infinitely better off if you separate your extraction planets from your factory planets. It also gives you a lot more flexibility. If you have separate factory planets, you never have to redo your setup in order to change to a different product. All you have to do is put the new starting products in, change your routing, boom, you're making the new product. The same planet setup works for everything. Whereas if you try to use one planet to go from extraction to P2 or P3, you have to tear down your entire system if you want to make something new. Or if something crashes in the market, which happens often. So what I'm going to do to kind of guide you guys through this is I'm going to set up to make Neocoms. So that's right here. So if I wanted to make Neocoms, for whatever reason, I would need to be able to make silicate glass, biocells, biofuels, oxidizing compounds, precious metals, and silicone. Now the silicone I already extract on Ashora, so I don't need to worry about that, but I will need to set up a planet for precious metals, oxidizing compounds, and biofuels. I'll also need a factory planet to take those into refined commodities and into specialized commodities. So this is going to tell us everything that we've got in our system. So these are all our planets, and by clicking on one of these planets, it's going to tell us what the resource concentration is at. We want to try to find the best planets that we possibly can for what we need. So for the precious metals, we need a barren planet. I've already taken a look at these and found that planet 6 is going to be my best bet to get my precious metals, because they start with noble metals. And when you hover over them, you can see that precious metals are refined from noble metals. So I'll need 1 barren, and then I'll need a gas for the oxidizing compounds. The best gas planet we have is 5. For our oxidizing compounds, which unfortunately we don't have a great gas planet, but it's what we have. Then we'll either need a barren or temperate for biofuels. Barren is our best bet again on this one, and that's going to be planet 1. And then we need a factory planet. Now, this is an important little known thing. Factory planets should always be on the smallest planet you can get your hands on. The reason for that is the larger the planet, the higher the cost of the links between them. Setting up planetary interaction is kind of like setting up a ship and you're fitting. You've got a power grid and you've got CPU. If you go over, you can't put anything else on the planet. So in order to have as much as possible, i.e. factories or extraction nodes, to make you more ISK, you want to make sure that you're reducing your cost of your links as much as possible. So keep them close together and make sure you're on the smallest radius planet you possibly can be on. So we're going to be setting up a barren planet for an extraction planet, and it's going to be planet 6. So we can go ahead and undock. So this is our planetary interaction for this planet. Now make sure you already have your command center in your inventory and you're undocked. You don't actually have to go to the planet though. So the first thing I'm going to do is decide where I'm going to set this up. And for this one I need the precious metals, which starts from noble metals. So you can change this slider here. And the higher up you go, the more concentrated you're going to see the resources. So this area here is a pretty darn good area to start with. Now you don't have to put your command center next to your setup if you don't want to. It just needs to be on the planet. After you've put it down, the next thing you want to do is upgrade it all the way. We click on it and we upgrade it as high as we can. There'll be a cost to that. I always try to submit my changes as often as possible if I know exactly what I'm doing and I'm happy with it, so that I don't lose anything if I get disconnected. Next up, we're going to have to set something to extract. You want to have it relatively close to the two most concentrated areas. These will change dynamically. Things that can change it is yourself extracting from it and reducing the amount there, and other players and other setups that are in the same area. So this could change. This might be the best location today. In 2 weeks it could change and it could be down here. But generally speaking, the higher concentrations will be in roughly the same area. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to put down a storage facility. If you don't use storage facilities to move all your commodities, you will have bind-ups where your commodities are wasted. I'm sure people have had that before on their planets. You want somewhere for the overflow to go. Then we also need a launch pad. Launchpad allows us to interact with the customs office. Without this, we can't get our commodities on or off the planet. Now, it's very important to keep these as close as possible. The links do have a power grid load, and we want the links as small as possible. So we want to cluster it as much as we can. The next thing we're going to need is basic industry facilities, and these allow us to take our raw commodities that we're extracting and turn them into P1 commodities. So next up, I'm going to start my extraction. And as you add extractors, you can see your power load going up. Your duration here. I set this to 2 days. The most efficient way to do this is to do it every 8 hours, but you will hate your life because you would have to be online every 8 hours to restart this. Now you want to set your extractors as close to the rich resource nodes as possible. If you put them too close together, you will get a negative charge on them, and you'll lose, as you can see here, these two will lose 11% of their extraction. So you want to make sure they're as close as possible, but they do not actually overlap. Okay, now we've got the extractor set up and ready to go, but it's not routed anywhere. So the next thing we want to do is take our factories and decide what the factory is going to make. If you try to route everything before you tell the factory what to make, it'll give you an error. So we're going to be making precious metals. So we install precious metals in this factory. We X out this factory and move on to the next factory. And it'll remember what we clicked last time, install, and X out. We do that for all of our factories.
Can you move factories after you place them?
Yes, you can, but there's a cost. You have to disable and destroy the factory. Everything that you put down has a cost, and you lose that cost if you destroy it or decommission it. Okay, now that they know what they're going to be making, we can start routing. So here, if we click on our extractor, we can see our noble metals here. They are not routed. So we're going to create a route for them. And they're going to go... Oh, and I forgot something. The next thing we have to do is create our links. So we'll need a link from our extraction to our silo, from our silo to our launch pad. And we want the links to be as small as possible. Now that everything's linked, we can set up our route. So we create a route, and we click our silo, create route. Now we have too much traffic, so this sometimes happens. This particular link has 103. So the problem with wormhole space is the planets are almost too good. So we just have to remove one of our extraction nodes. So we go back to our extraction. Now this doesn't have any cost because we haven't submitted it yet. So we don't have to worry about that. We just stop extracting and we remove one of these. And now if we zoom back in, we can see that our link should have enough now. So we're at 93.4 now.
Could you just upgrade the link?
So a link can only handle so much. There's no way to make the link better. The only thing that you can do is create more links. Each link has a power load cost, so it can only handle so much. So one thing that we could do if we wanted to get around this, and we actually had a need to get around this, if I had Command Center 5, for instance, what we could do is we could put another silo down and split all our resources between the two silos. And that would split up the link into two, and that 100% would go down to 50%.
I'm pretty sure if you can click on the link, you can upgrade it and it'll handle more stuff. I think I've done that before.
If you click on the link, you can upgrade it.
Let's see how much I can go up to. Well, thank you for that. I did not know that. I've been doing planetary interaction for 18 years and I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. And I am actually using the setup that you're showing right now.
Oh,
I figured
fantastic.
out it's the better one, and I haven't seen anyone else use it. That's great.
It's a good setup. Let's re-upgrade that now with my last link. I don't want to see if this works. Oh, that's dumb. Now it says 100% instead of 103. I didn't even upgrade it yet. Well, that's annoying.
You don't have
Screw
that
you.
newest one. It's not on the... You gotta replace it. That newest extraction.
Oh, it's not as ideal as it could be.
Oh yeah, it was in the center of the white.
There we go. There's 103. Thank you. So create route won't let me. Now, let's see if I can click on that and upgrade it.
You can click on the extractor and then go to links. Double click on the link.
Thank you.
Oh, I didn't know that. Cool.
Yeah, that wasn't too costly. I can deal with that. Okay, so we've now got our products routed into our silo. From the silo, we need to route them all into our factories. So if we look at our routes, we've got noble metals incoming. We're going to create a new route into our factory. Create route. Now we can go back to our routes. We can see the new outgrowing. We want to add another one from incoming. Create route. Create route. Run it again. We just go around to all our factories. Always making sure we're clicking on the incoming. So we've created all our routes now into our factories. Now we've got to take the products after they're done and put them into the launch pad. Best way to do it is to do the launch pad because that's where it ends up anyways, and then you don't have to do an expedited transfer. We take our products, create a route into our launch pad. The next one, same thing, a lot of repetitive clicking. The good thing is once you have this set up, this part is done and you never have to do it again. Okay,
Wait,
so now
placing
we've
any
got
more
all our
buildings, or should we max out our amount of processors?
So you want to make sure that you have as many processors on an extraction as possible. That's the number one thing. If you were going to use something smaller than 2 days for your extraction time, you'd want to have more factories. But you don't need more factories if you're not going to do something shorter than 2 days. These half these factories won't even be working a day from now because there won't be the resources. If you look at the extraction, you'll see that it starts quite efficient and its efficiency starts to die off. So once we get to about here, we're not actually going to be overusing these factories at all. And when you're done your full 2 day cycle, all these factories will be shut down. All your produced P1 will be in the launch pad ready for you to get it. So you don't actually need more factories on these. It's better to add more extractors. And if you've got your command centers to 5, you can add another extractor and plumb it right in and just use the same system. It's scalable. So if you can add another extractor and you can add more factories. Just build out from the center and keep it as tight as you can. So I can submit that now. And I've got an extraction planet done. Now this extraction planet, if it was, say, oxygen or water, one of the ones I was talking about earlier, this will bring you in on our planets here about 5 million a day. After 2 days, all you need to do is come back to it. When you go to your planetary interaction, our planet is just going to have a red circle with an X through it. It's going to basically say, hey, there's something wrong with it. All you have to do is click on it. You can be in station. You don't have to be docked up or anything like that, or you don't have to be out in space. You don't have to be at the customs office or anything like that. You don't even need to be in system. You can be anywhere to do this. All you have to do is go in, click on this, go to your extraction program, restart your extraction program, take a quick look to see if the concentration has changed. You might have to move these around a bit and restart it for another 2 days. Once a week, you'll notice that this sucker ends up getting very full. Your storage will be completely full. All you need to do is go to launch, schedule a launch from your launch pad. If there's items here, you would just drag and drop them over to the orbital customs office. Select transfer. There's a very low cost, obviously, because our corporation runs all this. So the transfer cost is like 50,000 ISK for an entire full load. Then you would have to go to the customs office and drag and drop from the customs office into your industrial, and then take all your loot home. And if all you're looking to do is extraction, this is it. This is all you have to do. You set up your 5-6 planets in this way, and you can start making ISK. Now, if you want to go further than that, and you're looking to make P3 or P4, this next section will be for you.
Question.
Yes.
If I'm only looking to like not have P1 only, is it necessary to keep the what's the other thing that's not the launch pad?
The silo, the storage silo.
Storage
So the storage silo, the point of the storage silo is to deal with the overflow that you will have at the beginning. So what'll happen is at the beginning, if you don't have the silo, you can use the launch pad as a silo. So you can actually have everything transferred into the launch pad, then out to the factories, from the factories back into the launch pad. But that can jam up the launch pad a little bit at about a week. You might actually have to dump it more often. If you don't have it at all, and you just go directly into the factories, what's going to happen is at the beginning, you're going to have too many planetary resources. And it's going to bog up the system, and you're going to waste planetary resources.
Okay, but if I don't care about that, it's going to run smoothly after a while. If I check it every 3 days or so, I can use more extractors. instead of having like a silo?
I would recommend, if you're going to go that route, to not use the launch pad as your silo if you want to get rid of the silo, because
yeah,
that's going to reduce your waste.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, thank you.
No worries.
Okay, so on mine, I've got them making P1s. Like several P1s on each planet. That's not good, right?
That's not ideal, because if you're making several P1s on each planet, that means you're having multiple extractors, right?
Yeah, I've got 2 extractor heads.
Okay, so if you had 3 planets that were doing that, you'd be way better off to have 2 planets doing extractions and 1 planet as a factory planet, converting those P1s into a P2.
Okay, so I've got 9 characters doing this.
Oh wow, so you've got a lot of work to do, eh?
Yeah, so I need to change them all so they're just doing 1, is what you're saying.
For an extraction planet, you want 1 resource coming out of the planet, and that's it.
Okay. And you're just taking that first step to the P1, and then you factory planet everything else.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so the next one I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a factory planet. Now, the problem with this factory planet is because I don't have my P1 resources yet from the other factories, I'm not going to be able to set the routes for you guys, but I have showed you how to set routes. It is pretty self-explanatory. So I'm going to set up this planet, and it's not going to be used right away, but I'm going to show you the setup of the planet so you can see that. I'm also going to link some pictures into Discord real quick, if I can do that. Okay, so I've popped that in the main channel. That is the best factory layout that you can use for P1 to P2. So basically what you do is you load everything in through the launch pads, you do expedited transfers into the silos. The silos feed all of the factories, top and bottom. You can split them up to do the ones on the right side and the ones on the left side, for the right and the left respectively. And then they feed back their P2 resources back to the launch pads. So what you need to do is you need to go to that planet, and all the P1 that you've been picking up from your extraction planets, you'll deposit it into your factory. So we're going to set up one of those now. And the only thing we won't be able to do is do the routing, because we have no products to route. So this one will be on factory planet, is going to be Lava Planet 10, because it's the smallest planet that we have. Now, because this is a factory planet, we don't need to scan it. We don't need to know where the resource-rich nodes are. And while you don't need to have your setup anywhere close to your command center, in this setup, it works really well to have the command center in the middle, for no other reason, as it just looks really good. And I used to use it to take down traffic for my links, but I see that that's completely unnecessary now that we can upgrade links.
So since this is a factory planet, we don't want any resources on this planet.
That's right. The resources on this planet don't matter at all. We just want a small planet. That's the only thing that matters.
Alright, so for Neocoms, this makes sense. But if you're doing something else that wants the magma or whatever, are you fucking yourself in this situation, or do we have multiple lavas?
So we do have multiple lavas, luckily. We have 2 lavas, 3 barrens, a temperate, an ice, and a gas. So if you need, for some reason, to extract more than 2 things from a lava, you'd want to pick a different planet to do this on. But because I only need 1 lava planet in my setup, I can use my other lava planet for this. And this, even though because it's a small planet, the larger planet generally has denser resources. Not always, it depends on the resource. Sometimes one of the resources can be a little higher than the other, but generally speaking, the larger the planet, the more concentrated the resources. So the smaller planets are perfect for factories, because they usually don't have a high concentration of resources anyways. Obviously, because we're in J-space, all of our planets are filled with resources. They have a ridiculous amount of resources. So on this one, we are going to start with storage facilities. And it's important to try to get these as close as you possibly can. So I've got my storage facilities, next launch pads. Now this one will be the advanced industry facility, not the basic. Now the one that was in the picture that I linked is if you have your skills up to 5. If you don't have your skills up to 5, you will not be able to put all of those factories down. You might have to omit a couple of them. So I just start close to the center and I build my way out. So from this I can tell I'm going to need to get rid of a couple of these. Now there's two ways to do this. You can decommission one after you submit it, which will cost you ISK, or you can cancel and start from scratch again. You can decide which one's worth your time and your ISK. This time I'm going to be smart. I'm going to submit those. So what happened there is the links ended up costing me too much to have all those factories. So I misjudged how many factories I could have. I got a little greedy. I'm used to a character with skills to 5. And try to get as many of those factories in as you can. And I get one more. And that's it. So if I go back and check my flowchart, so if I want to make Neocoms, I need biocells and I need silicate glass. So it won't really matter. I won't need multiple planets to make biocells and silicate glass. I'll only need this one to do biocells and the silicate glass. I just have to change the input resource. So say the first thing I want to do is do the biocells. So I'll need biofuels and precious metals. So I'll set this up for biocells first. And again, you'll want to install your blueprints before you do anything else. If you don't install the blueprints, nothing will work. And you'll want to do that with all the planets. I'm not going to bore you and just click, 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 and do them all, but you get the point. Set all your planets to the same thing. The next thing you're going to need to do is you'll need to go to the planet and bring your resources in. So when you bring them in to the customs office, you can come into your planetary interaction here and you can see the 2 launch pads that you have and switch between the 2. You're going to want to put your resources from your hauler in, and then you're going to want to transfer them down into the launch pad. After you've done that, and you've got them, I usually put one resource in one launch pad and another resource in the other launch pad. I then take off back to station so I'm nice and safe and I'm not just sitting there at a planet not paying attention. This is not a safe thing to do while you're out in space. You'll be able to take these and do what's called an expedited transfer. When you do an expedited transfer, you can only do 1 per launch pad every 3 hours. So you want to make sure that you do it right. You'll go to your storage. You'll click the commodity that you're looking to move into the silo. You'll click expedited transfer. And it'll let you do an expedited transfer and it'll instantly move it from one location to another. Once you do that, you won't be able to do another one for 3 hours from that launch pad. So you'll take the one resource, bring it down here. You'll take the other resource and you'll bring it down to your other silo. Then you'll start your routing just like we did before in the last planet. You'll click on the commodity and you'll tell it to go to each and every factory. Now, all these factories, I usually split them in half. From the right side and the left side. The other thing you can do is just link every single one and not worry about it. So you can take this and say, I want to create a route from this commodity to this one, this one, this one, and just go through them all the way around. And then you have to go to the other side, to the other commodity. You've got to do the same thing. You've got to route them everywhere. After that, you go back to each individual one and you can go to the finished product and you can create that route and you take it back to the launch pad. And that is a factory planet. Now, this is a lot of information for everybody, so I wasn't going to do P3 to P4 today. Also, my character that is going from P3 to P4 is not finished training, and it won't be finished training until next week. So I actually can't even do it because I need to have my skills all to 5. You cannot, without skills to 5, you really can't take P3 to P4. You just can't do it.
So next week.
So next week. And I'll probably be answering questions throughout the week. If anybody has problems and they can't get it set up, or they literally just want me to walk them through a P1 setup, extraction planets on all 6 planets, all 5 planets, whatever they have on as many tunes as they have, I'll watch your stream, I will walk you through the process, and I will get you up and running. This is free money, and we have the best planetary interaction in the entire game, literally sitting inside our hole. So not making use of it is just foolish. This is an extra 2 to 3 billion on your account if you have 3 characters, and it only takes just over 2 weeks to train these up to level 4 in that skill plan that I linked. And that's really all you need to do planetary interaction and just sell P1 items, and you will make a lot of ISK for a very small time investment. Less time investment than you probably have put into gas huffing this month, and you will make more ISK than gas huffing. So I was planning for this to be like an hour to an hour and a half, so I cleared my schedule for the next 45 minutes. Does anybody have any questions? Anything they want to know? Oh, also, thank you so much for showing me about upgrading links. It's fucking great. I had no idea that you could do that. I'm actually going to have to retouch up some of my setups because of that now.
What's the like income difference between stopping at P2 or P3?
Okay, so the income difference is only about 40 to 50%, and the P1 products, the volume that sell are way higher, especially in high sec. A lot of people in high sec have realized that the planets suck really, really bad. So what they do is they buy P1 and they just have these factory planets or factory planets like this, because this is the only money that they can make. They can't make extraction money. The planets are overused. So by bringing them P1, they sell so fast. I don't think I've ever had any P1 product in the market that was fairly priced for more than 48 hours on a sell order. And it's also about another month of training to get to the level that you can actually take things up to P4. But to give you an idea, P1 usually sells for as much as 1,000 per unit, whereas a P4 product sells for as much as 2 million per product.
Yeah, so I'm doing gel matrix biopaste and cryoprotectants, which solution, which seem to be the most profitable on the P2 layer. And I'm trying to figure out, is it worth, because those are all dual inputs, and I'm trying to figure out, is it worth the complication of going to 3 inputs on some of them to do the next tier up?
The first question would be, do you have the skills to 5?
No, all my tunes are 4, I think.
Okay, if you don't have your skills to 5, you're not going to be able to do the factory planet that's required. Actually, I'll link the factory planet that is required so that you can see what going from P1 to P3 would be. So this is a 4 input P1 to P3 planet. I'll link it in the same place. And then if you wanted to do a P3 to a P4, which requires 3 inputs, a 3 input planet would look like this. It's kind of hard to see, but there's a slight darkened tinge to the more advanced factories.
Yeah, so you're saying you only need to be trained to level 5 on the tune that has the factory planets.
That's right. The extractions don't need it. The extractions, going up to 5 on the extraction tunes are going to allow you to extract more and increase your ISK, definitely. But obviously, the investment you're putting in time-wise and taking away from other things you could be doing and putting your skills into, that's something that you have to weigh and decide for yourself whether it's worth it or not. But one tune will have to go to 5 if you want to take it past just extracting and converting into P1 or P1 to P2, which you can do with 4s, no problem. But once you get into going up to P3 and to P4, the setups just, they require too much power grid. It doesn't matter how small of a planet you have.
I'm redoing my PI, I can tell you that much.
Perfect. And like I said, I have no problems. If you have any questions, if you see me online, or shoot me a Discord message and set up a time with me. I'm usually home during the week at about 0 Eve time, and I'm usually on for 4 to 6 hours every single night. And on the weekends, it's pretty much open game. If you need a little bit of my time, I have no problems talking about PI and doing this stuff. I enjoy doing this kind of stuff. I know it's sick and twisted. I just like seeing money roll in passively.
We're all sick and twisted in here.
That is true. That is true. Just in different ways.
Gotta say, you're playing Eve, so you're a masochist to start with, either way.
Yeah, exactly.